Cryptic, and today we have a puzzle called Paintball Battle by Joseph Nehme, and I'm hoping this puzzle won't be quite as challenging as the one I did earlier, which was Ahaupt's puzzle for the book. Now, that was a monster puzzle. It was so difficult, and it was also a sort of variant of Killer Sudoku, which this one is. Now, I don't know how hard this is, apart from I think it's 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty on Logic Masters Germany, so it's obviously not straightforward. But the testing reports say this is a really beautiful, clever puzzle. I'm trying to work out why it's called Paintball Battle. I think, is this meant to be a paintball gun, this grey area? I don't know, perhaps. I've only played paintball a couple of times. I found it very painful. Yeah, anyway, maybe you guys can tell me. What am I missing in terms of why this looks like paintball? Anyway, what else do I want to mention before we kick off with the rules? Let me talk to you about Patreon at the moment. We have got a lot of stuff going on Patreon. There's the Tracking the Cryptid video on how to solve last month's Sudoku puzzle hunt. There's the video I did yesterday on how to solve Mitchell Lee's Yajilin puzzle. If you've not seen that, check it out. That is a very clever Yajilin, very unusual. I think Mark is planning to release a video on his latest solve of the Times Cryptic Crossword Monthly Special, which is always entertaining, especially if you like seeing Mark getting stuck. And of course, we are going to release a new puzzle hunt shortly. It's coming out in a couple of weeks' time, unless we reach the magic number of 3,333 patrons in the meantime, which we might well do actually, in which case we'll release it the moment we hit that target. So if you've ever thought about becoming a patron, now is a good time. Other than that, let's get on with the rules of Joseph's puzzle. We have got normal Sudoku rules apply. In cages, digits must sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage, and digits cannot repeat within a cage, so completely standard Killer Sudoku rules. And we've also got sort of crop key by the looks of it. Black dots mean that the ratio of the 2 connected cells is 1 to 2. Not all dots are given, so if you've never seen crop key before, that means these 2 cells, you can see they're separated by a black dot. So if this square was a 3, that square would have to be a 6, because they have to be in the ratio 1 to 2. If this was a 2, this could be a 1 or a 4. In fact, because there's 2 dots connected, that's not possible in this case. This one couldn't be 1, because if it was 1, this one would then have to be 2. But anyway, that's how crop key dots work. Do have a go at the puzzle, of course. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now, let's get cracking. Now, one thing I did was I've done the colouring based off the puzzle that we've got sent, but I don't believe the colouring is necessary. That's what our testers tell me, so I'm actually just going to get rid of it, just in case it confuses me. And I'm going to say, well, I know something about crop key dots where there are 3 in a line like this. Yeah, if you've done a lot of crop key, you will know this as well, but basically you always have to have a 2 or a 4 in the central position. Earlier on, when I looked at whether 3-6 was possible, it's not in a connected series of 3 crop key dots, because if we try it, 3-6, what are we going to put in this one? We can't put 12 in. There's a knowledge bomb from Cracking the Cryptic. We could put 3 in, but that will repeat the 3 in the box and the row, and that is not allowed. So we know that these digits here must be some combination of the digits 1, 2, 4 and 8. Now, if we try and put 1 or 8 in the middle, we'll run into exactly the same problem we ran into with the 3 and the 6, namely, we'll get repeated digits. So we have to have a 2 or 4 in the centre, and that does lead, look, to an interesting 2-4 pair in column 8. And I'm not really seeing why that matters. So this one looks more interesting to me, just because it's going to have quite an impact on box 2 of the Sudoku. So you can see in box 2, look, we've got cages there summing to 30, which means these cells sum to 15. How do I know that? It's magic. That's how I know. No, it's not really magic. It's just arithmetic. I know that box, if I look at the finished solution to the Sudoku, will contain all of the digits from 1 to 9. add up the digits 1 to 9, you get 45. So if I know those 6 cells add up to 30, I know those 3 must add up to 15 to ensure the box adds to the right number. So if these add up to 15, and these... So this is either 124 or 248. Now if it's 124, that's 7 plus 15 is 22. This would be 23 then to make the row add up to 45, and that's impossible, look, because you can't make a 13 cage in 2 cells. Oh no, it's got 3. Oh no, that's not that. I was about to say something that would have been completely true if the 13 cage had only been 2 cells, because you can't put... Now you can see if this was a 2-cell 13 cage, it couldn't be 6, 7, 5, 8 or 4, 9. Unfortunately, I've just realised it's a 3-cell 13 cage. So that is complete guff I was about to spout then. Okay. So let's restart the logic. If this is 15 and this is 7, so this is 23, this is 6, 8, 9. I don't know what's wrong with that. There may be nothing wrong with that. If this, on the other hand, is 2, 4 and 8, that's adding up to 14. 14 plus 15 is 29. This is adding up to 16. That's absolutely impossible to tell whether that's correct or not. Okay. Right, okay, well I don't actually know what to do then, so we're going to have to... Well, actually, I do know one thing I can think about. Look, if there is definitely a 2 and a 4 in this triple, and there definitely is, there must be a 2 and a 4. 4 then can't go in the 8 cage, so there's a 4 in one of 4 positions in box 2, and there's and the 2 can't go in the 12 cage because it would need a 10 to accompany it. So the 2 is in one of those 2 positions. Now, can we rule out any of this? 2, 6, 8, 2, 8. That can't be 2, 8, look. That's quite interesting. This can't be a 2-8 pair, because if that's a 2-8, the 4 can't. The 4, which we know is in one of these 6 cells, now can't go in the 8 cage, so would have to be in the 12 cage, where it would need a 4 and an 8. So the 8 would repeat in the box. So that's not 2-8. So we can take 2 out of there, which is nice because it means 2 is in the it's definitely in the 8 cage. So this is a 2-6 pair. And that means that's not 4. 4 is not in the 10 cage either. So in fact, we get all the even digits in those 4 cells. So this domino here is a 4-8 pair. And we've got odd digits in all of the... this isn't going to turn into a parity puzzle, is it? Is that what we're meant to think about? Hang on, let's just look at that. So these, you can see all of these are even. So my classic colour for even is blue, and my colour for orange is my colour for odd is orange, because they both begin with O. I know, I'm a simple creature. Now, so this is 1, 9 or 3, 7. There's definitely a 5 in those cells. These would definitely be even because they are 2 and 4. One, 2. So this is 1, 2, 4 or 2, 4, 8. 16 is a 3-cell even total. So it's either got 3 even digits in it, or it's got 1 even digit and 2 odd digits. But we know that the 1, 2, 4 or the 2, 4, 8 has at least 2 even digits. Therefore, this never has 3 even digits in it. So this is always 1 even and 2 odd. which means that this is always, these triple is 1 even and 2 odd. I'm trying to see why this matters. I'm not doing very well. Maybe it's not a parity puzzle then. I can't quite see how to use parity to take me forward. I think I'm going to remove the highlighting and just... Am I going to remove the highlighting? I think I am. I can't see how that's helping me, and it's confusing me to have the highlighting in. So we'll bear it in mind as a strategy, but we need to think about something else, I feel, to go forward. Now, what do I do next? Maybe we've got to do some arithmetic then. Let us think about arithmetic. We've got this interesting, maybe this is this the handle of the paintball gun? I don't know, but if this is the handle of the paintball gun, we've got 31 in those cells. So I'm wondering whether we can do something with column 1 and column 2. Because column 1 and column 2, we know that column, that's just a set of the digits 1 to 9. That adds up to 45, so 2 columns add up to 90. These together add up to 31, which means these cells add up to 59. Now, that means there are 11 degrees of freedom there. How am I getting to 11? Well, I'm just sort of... I'm just imagining these were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 twice. That's all I'm doing there. So, I mean, 59 is not... It's not ringing any bells of recognition with me as to why I should think this is particularly constrained. This is weird, this puzzle, actually. This is very unusual because there's not anything to go on. There's a 14 cage here, which is either 5-9 or 6-8. Either way round, there are options for the 10 cage in the row. So I'm obviously missing something quite profound about this. And I don't know what it is. I'm so sorry. It must be... I really don't know what it is. I mean, how can it involve these sorts of cages here? These cages are sort of sitting on their own, one per box. It feels like the break-in has to be something to do with, you know, this portion of the grid, which is admittedly quite a lot of the grid. Maybe it's these 3 squares. So if I've got 7 here and 16 here, that's 23. These would be 22. They'd have to include a 9. 9, 6, 7 doesn't disturb this. 9, 8, 5 forces this to be 1, 2, 4. This is the presumption anyway that this is 1, 2, 4. So that fits quite nicely. That would be 7, 6, 3. If, on the other hand, this is 2, 4, 8, we get 14. This is 15. That's just such a middling total. It's a magic square total for a row of a 3 by 3. This is very peculiar. I'm so sorry. I've got a horrible feeling about this one. I think it might just beat me. I'm not even having any ideas about how to solve it. What am I missing here? Is it something to do with this box? I've got... Is it something to do with the gun? I don't even like this part of the gun. You can make a square with that look by adding those 3 squares in. Maybe that's something I should think about. Let me just have a think about that for a second. I don't even like the colour, not green. Is there a way of working out what those 3 squares are somehow, using the geometry of the grid? That's the question I'm asking. I have no clue is the answer. I don't know. That doesn't look profitable. Let's go back and have a look at... where shall I look? I don't even know where to look. This is mad. Do I have to just guess the arrangement of the crop key? I wouldn't have to guess. I think the testers wouldn't have passed this puzzle if this involved guessing. You know, like if it involved hypothesizing that this... You can see that the crop key dots are different strings, I suppose. That is a fair enough thing to note. Because if this is 2, this is 4. You wouldn't know the ordering of the digits either side, but you would know if this was 4 that this was surrounded by 2, 8. You would know if this was 2 it was surrounded by 1, 4, and vice versa. So we know these crop key strings are not the same. I can see how if I knew this was 1, 2, 4 it would be really useful, because then I'd have a 1, 9 pair in the 10 cage and I'd know what these digits were. If this is 1, 2, 4, things become really almost not doable, but they become understandable. If this is 1, 2, 4 on the other hand, I really don't think that does much. But wanting this to be 1, 2, 4 and it being 1, 2, 4 are not the same things. We have to find a way. I have to find a way of understanding what is going on. I realise this is probably not very entertaining as well, which I really don't like the feeling that I'm just sitting here with a lot of people watching me thinking, what an idiot. Oh dear. Now, come back to this. Let's have a look at this square again. Is there a way of looking at this square? So what I'm thinking is, can you do a Fistamafel type trick on a square in the grid? I'm sure you can do it, but I don't know how you do it really, with it being... We looked at a puzzle that had... I looked at a puzzle that had a square in the corner, didn't I? That was an Ard van der Wetering puzzle, I remember. What I can't remember is what the result of that was. It was something to do with proving bits around the grid here were the same as bits around the grid were there, I think. But I think there was another rule in that puzzle. So if I'm going to... there is something about this that feels like it's interesting suddenly to me, because these cells, we know what they are. Now, hang on. Okay, so maybe I'm not meant to look at the square per se. Maybe I'm meant to look at the cells that are not in the square. By which I mean maybe I'm meant to look at those squares and these squares. Ooh, I don't really like... hang on, let's just look at it. Let's just stare. Let's just stare at it and see whether inspiration strikes us. So... no, that's wrong. I want those in as well. There we go. Now... So I'm wondering... Well, I know I can do it. I'm just not wondering. I'm not sure whether it's helpful to do it. But I can define the purple cells in this grid in two different ways. Yeah. Okay. Let's look at this. So if I'm going to try and define the purple squares. I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm just going to go try and do something. Let's just talk anyway. So if I'm going to try and define the purple squares, I know, for example, that this row of the grid is one set of the digits 1 to 9. This row of the grid is one set of the digits 1 to 9, etc., etc. So this column is one set of the digits 1 to 9. This column is one set of the digits 1 to 9. So you can see if I take 8 lots, 8 sets of the digits 1 to 9, I would define the purple squares, except that I would double count these squares within that total, because as I sum those cells, I'm including these green ones. As I sum these cells, I'm including these green ones. As I sum these cells, I'm including these green ones again. So you can see I'm counting this one twice. So the purple squares are equal to 8 sets of the digits 1 to 9 minus 2 sets of whatever's in the green cells. Now, what I'm wondering is whether I can use the fact that this is quite interesting. This is quite interesting, because let's highlight the rest of the grid now in blue. Now, I'm quite glad now I got rid of the paintball highlighting, because this would become very complicated. But now I'm going to try and define the purple squares again, but this time I'm going to look at the columns of this. It doesn't matter whether we look at columns or row, but I think it's easier to think about columns because of these digits. So if I was to look at every single column of the Sudoku, that would be equal to 9 sets of the digits 1 to 9. Now, I don't want all of those digits, obviously, because I'm trying to get back to the purple digits. But the purple digits are equal to the whole Sudoku, i.e. 9 sets of the digits 1 to 9, every single column added in, minus the blue cells, minus 1 set this time of the green cells. So I've now defined the purple cells in two ways. They're equal to 8 sets of the digits 1 to 9 minus 2 lots of the greens on the one hand, and it's also equal to 9 sets of the digits 1 to 9 minus the blues minus 1 set of the greens on the other side. You will forgive me, I hope, if I muff this up, but I'm trying to do it in my head. I would really like to use a notepad. If this turns out to be correct, I will try and put some stuff on the screen so that it's clearer to people watching the video. So what does that mean? That means minus. I'm going to get this this is becoming very confused in my mind. So I've got 8 sets minus 2 greens is equal to 9 sets minus 1 green minus blue. Okay. So if I switch minus blue, so if I switch this round, I can get... Oh, this is going to be very confusing. I'm confusing myself now. So on the right hand side of the equation, that will reduce down to one set of the digits 1 to 9. One set of the digits 1 to 9, yeah, minus blue. Also minus green, but I want the green. I need to get the green. I need to find an equivalence between the green and the blue. This is getting very strange in my head here. I'm not even sure I've got the right number of digits on both sides of this equation in my head, which is also disconcerting me, I have to say. So, if I switch the greens over to the right-hand side, I have the greens minus the blues. It's minus the blues. Plus one set of the digits 1 to 9. Yeah, okay. Equals 0. So if I shift the blues over to the other side, I've got greens which are 16 cells, plus one set of the digits 1 to 9. That's 9 cells, so that's 25 cells, is equal to the blues. Please, 16 plus 9 is 25. Have I got 25 blue cells? That is the first question. I've got 10 this side, 13. I have. So this looks promising. Okay, at least my equation seems to have the right number of cells on both sides. So now, and I know that this must be really easy to do if you've got it on paper, but I haven't. So now I've got green. The green cells are equal to the blue cell. So the green cells plus one set of the digits 1 to 9 is equal to... this is right. Now now after 27 minutes I have understood the puzzle. And I am so sorry this has taken me so long. Right. Now this box is the key to the puzzle, because that box is one set of the digits 1 to 9. So my equation now reads, well, let's go back to what my equation was. My equation is green plus one set of the digits 1 to 9 equals blue. Now, but within blue, I have one set of the digits 1 to 9. So I can deduct that from both sides of the equation. I just get rid of these, uncolour them, and now get rid of all the purples. Purples are no longer necessary. This is lovely. And this must work. This must work because look, Joseph has given us these. He's given us everything but this one. But we're going to be able to hone in on a relationship between this domino and this triomino, and it better work. This better be meaningful, because now what we've reached is the position where the greens are equal to the blues, and we have 16 of each colour, which looks perfect. Now, so if we know that the greens and the blues are equal, this is why the Kropki dots are nice, because we're saying these are different Kropki totals. So one of them is a 7, one of them is a 14, so together they add up to 21. So the blues add up to 21 plus 31, 52 plus this domino. Right, so let's remember this. 52 plus this domino is equal to the greens, which are equal to 63 plus that. So, I'm getting there, I think. We've got 63 plus that is equal to 52 plus that. That's it. That's beautiful. It's beautiful. So what's the absolute minimum I can make those three squares? Well, the answer is 1, 2 and 3. If these were 1, 2 and 3, I've got 63 plus 6, so I've got 69 on one side of the equation, is equal to 52 plus this domino. Well, what's the maximum I could make this domino? Well, it's 8 plus 9. So in fact, this is why this puzzle is set up. Oh, it's absolutely extraordinary, and I have to say, it's completely barbaric to expect solvers to spot. This is absolutely horrific. It's horrific. Oh my goodness me. But if we were to increase this total by any more to any higher, these squares couldn't be high enough. It would be impossible. So these have to be minimum, these have to be maximum. And we have, yes we do, we have instant progress. Because now, well, I've got loads of things I can see. The first thing I can see is this crop key relationship now can't include an 8. So this is 1, 2 and 4, which we don't know the order yet, but it's definitely 1, 2 and 4. That means we've looked at this already. This was 6, 8 and 9 when this was 1, 2 and 4, because this added up to 15. So this is a 6. 9, look, has to be shunted into the 10 cage. So that becomes a 1, 9 pair. These squares now, we can get rid of the 5. We're looking for 3, 5 and 7, which do add up to 15, which suggests we're on the right lines. This 1, 9's looking down here, so this is not, doesn't include a 1. The 1 goes in here. The 10 cage now can't be 1, 2, 3, so it must be 4, 6. The 2, 6 fixes the order, and suddenly this puzzle might be tractable. I don't know why I said that, but surely there can't be any more monstrosities hidden in this. This is now 2, 4, 8. Whoopsie. Go away. I don't want to do that. I want to just label those squares with 2, 4 and 8. 8 must go here by Sudoku. 2 must go here. That fixes the 2 and the 3. The 14 cage now can't include an 8, so this is 5 and 9. These squares have got to be 4, 6 and 7, look. That's not 4. That's just to complete the row with the options available. In fact, the 6 here tells us where it goes. That square's got to be 6, which gets rid of the 6 out of these two cells. Oh, it's so nice just to be able to throw in a few digits. It feels like a just reward. 1, 3 and 7 into those squares. These are 5, 8 and 9, look. No, we could use uniqueness here, but I won't do it because this square can't be a 5. If this was 5, we'd have 8, 9 pairs in these two cells that couldn't be disambiguated in terms of their ordering. You know, there's no killer cage telling us how they should be arranged. There's nothing to prevent them being either way round. So this won't be a 5 in the finished grid, but I won't assume that. Now let's carry on. We've got 1, 3 and 6 into those positions. So this square, which is part of the 10 cage, is 9, 4 or 7. Those squares are 5, 7 and 9. That one isn't 9, look, because of the 1, 9 pair. That one isn't 3 because of the 3. The 13 cage. There's some nice logic on the 13 cage, look. Whatever this digit is, it has to have a 1 in it. If this is a 9, those two squares have to add up to 4, so they would be 1 and 3. If it's 8, these have to add up to 5 without using 2, so they have to be 1 and 4. And if it's 5, these two squares have to add up to 8 without using 3, 5 or 2, 6. They'd have to be 1 and 7, so there is always a 1 in there, which is, well, it gets rid of a 1 from that square. I don't think it does anything. I don't think it does any more than that, which is slightly surprising. Oh, the 6 though is useful. That gives us a 3. So maybe that's why this. Maybe that's what this is doing. It was giving us this digit. So this can't be a 3 now. So that can't be a 7. 2, 3. Okay. Can we go further than this somehow? I'm sure we can. I just have to work out how. Okay, what is the trick that we need to do next? Can we get some traction with this 10 cage? Do we know what's in that? 6, 4. I'm not sure. It's not immediately clear to me how we... It looks like... what I'm thinking about, by the way, is whether this has to contain a 1 or not. Now, if it doesn't have a 1 in it, it has to be 2, 3, 5. And the positions of the 2, 3 here do suggest that that is possible. It certainly has to contain... Well, it doesn't actually have to contain one of those digits. That could be 2, 3, and that could be 6. But the fact, maybe it's the fact that the 9 is no longer a possibility here because this can't be 9, 1, 3 anymore. So let's get rid of the 9 from there. So this is either 8, 1, 4 or it's 5, 1, 7. So there's, this is lovely. Okay, so the fact is now the 9 has to move down in the column. Therefore, this becomes a 4, this becomes a 6. I'm glad I stuck with this, actually. I almost abandoned it, but I'm actually gradually whittling it away. Now the 1, look, has to be in the 10 cage, so the 2 and the 3 aren't both in the 10 cage. These have to add up to 10 as well. The 4, 7 gets resolved by the 4 we've just placed. Still tempting to use uniqueness, but I won't do it. Don't worry, I won't do it. Now, where does the 8 go? The 8 could be here or it could be here. It's definitely not in here. This adds up to 10, so this is not 1, 9 or 4, 6. This is either 2, 8 or it's 3, 7. That's it, isn't it? Where does the 5 go in the box? The 5 can't go in here because it would need a 4. The 5 can't go in here because it would need a 5. So the 5 goes in here, which fixes that this is an 8. That 8 fixes that we need 1, 7 up at the top there. Fixes our uniqueness issue. Look, that's now gone away. We now know that the 8 is not in these 3 squares. It can't go in the 10 cage, therefore it is in the 11 cage, where it joins its friend the 2. Whoa, I don't know what happened there, but that's a 2, 8 now. That 2, 8 fixes the 8, 9 at the top. Good grief. That fixes the 9 and the 5. We now know there's a 5 in one of those cells. We now know that we can't use 2, 7, 4, 5 or 1, 8. So this is a 1, 3, 6 triple. And look, there's a 6 here to help us. So this is 6. Wow, this puzzle is very, very clever. And it is anything but straightforward. 1, 5, 7. Oh no, not 1, thank goodness. 5, 7, 9 is what I meant to say. 5, 7, 9. So let's... we're not going to get much from across rows 2 and rows 3, are we? So this is a 2, 5 pair, which we can't resolve. Maybe the 16 cage will help us out. Oh, I know what will help us out. Yes. If these add up to 7 and these add up to 16, that's 23. So these add up to 22 to make the box add up to 45. Sorry, I could have done this a while ago. That means there's a 9 in one of those 3 squares because 22 in 3 scales needs a 9. It's either 9, 6, 7 or 9, 5, 8. That means we know where the 9 goes there. Oh, look, it's all going to unwind now. Now there must be an 8 in the 16 cage. And that's quite interesting because it can't be 817 because of the 1 here. It can't be 826. So this is 358, which fixes that this is 679. And that fixes the order of the 6 and the 2. And that fixes the order of the 2 and the 5. And those 2 squares have to be 3 and 7. And we know the order of those as well. I'm not sure whether this would have helped actually with the bottom bit, but it's nice to get it sorted out. We can get rid of some of the pencil marking. How long have I had on this puzzle? 41 minutes. That doesn't feel... that has flown by. I've got something else. There's an 18 cage here. Now, there's 1s looking down into these 3 cells. If there's a 1 in an 18 cage, it most certainly needs an 8 in it, and it can't have 1. So there is no 1 in there. This is the 1. This is the 1. This is the 3. Therefore, therefore there's not a 1 look in the 16 cage. It's not 6 there. Now, what now? It's very tightly constructed, isn't it? Because even at this point, you think it would have to crumble. But it most certainly isn't. If there's no 1 in a 16 cage, there must surely be a 2 in it, because 3, 4, 5 plus 6 is too many. So there definitely is a 2 in here. Now the 2... Oh, I see, and now we can use the 2, 4 at last to fix a 2 onto this side. And this is massive, because we know that this combination is 2, 4, 8, and the 2 can't be on this side. In fact, thinking about it, once I know this is 1, 2, 4, oh God, I'm so stupid. That's got to be 4. Now this is 2, this is 8. Now this 1, 2, 4, we still don't know the order of. This 2, is that helping us? I feel like it's nearly helping us, but not quite. 2s. Two look in the centre. Has to be in one of 3 positions. I was wondering whether it could be in the 18 cage, but I think it is possible for that to be a 7-9 pair. Can't see why that wouldn't work. 6 has got to be in one of those 2 squares. 4 has got to be in one of these 2 squares. So 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s. Wow, okay. What am I missing now? I have no clue. Is there more of a restriction on that 16 cage than I think there is? 2, 3, 4, 5 adds up to 14. So it's either 2, 3, 4, 7. So there is always a 3 in it, okay. That's maybe a sensible thing to note. It's either 2, 3, 4, 7, which would have a 4 over here. Don't know where the 7 would be. Or it's 2, 3, 5, 6. which is actually getting very restricted. 2, 3, 5, 6 would be 6 here, 3 here, 2 here, 5 here. That feels like it's nearly broken to me. What can we do to break that? That's the question. Is there any way of us... we've got a 5-7 pair in column 6 here. I didn't spot that either. 4, 6, 8 into these squares. It's not going to help us, is it? Oh, it might help me with the 8. Yeah, I know what we could do. Arithmetic. Right, let's look at this. 4, 6, 8 into these squares. Now, 4, 6 and 8, last time I checked, they add up to 18. That's adding up to 18. So that's 36. That's 37. The box adds up to 45. These have to add up to 8. Oh, lovely. So the 2 does go here. Because if these add up to 8, they can't be 1, 7. They can't be 2, 6. So these have to be 3 and 5. And you can see we know the order. 3, 5, 2. This is a 7, 9 pair. Therefore, this is a 5. This is a 3. Whoops, 3. That's a 7. That's a 9. I've done this, I know I've done this in the most inefficient way, and you'll have to excuse me, I'm afraid. But these things happen when you're live solving these puzzles. Okay. So now... now this is a 5. Yes, so one of the options for this cage was 2, 3, 5, 6. Well, that's impossible now. Because if this is 2, 3, 5 and 6, what on earth do I put into those 2 squares? Well, there's only one option left. Is a 2 for one of them, but the other one will not be filled. So this is not 2, 3, 5, 6. This is 2, 3, 4, 7. And the 4 must go over this side by Sudoku, and that 4 going over there fixes the 4 and the 1. Good Lord. That means this square isn't a 1. We don't know where the 7 goes, I don't think. You may know, I'm not sure. This 2 actually is fixing that the 2 goes there. So the 4 must go here now. The 3 must go here. And we do learn the position of the 7. That squares a 6, 8 and 4 by Sudoku. 8 goes in the corner. 8 goes in here by Sudoku. That's a 1. Again, Sudoku coming to our rescue. That's not 7. So we need 5, 6 and... good Lord, it doesn't break. This is 5, 6 or 9. In fact, all of these squares I think are 5, 6 or 9. That one can't be 6. That one can't be... that one can't be 6 either. So the 6 goes here, which fixes the 9 at the top. The 5 here, the 9 goes in. That fixes the 5 and the 9 and the 7. That should be a 5. That should be a 7. That should be a 9. That should be a 9. That should be a 7. That fixes the 7 and the 3 and the 5. And we click check. And I think I've just misclicked something there. That didn't feel like a... I don't know why I've got 2 9s here, but I think that's something I just did. 9, 9. Yeah, that should have been a 7. And that would have been a 6. Yeah, that's something I just did. 3, 3, 5. I think the software was too slow for my flying fingers. That's how to solve a monstrously difficult puzzle. It's brilliant, don't get me wrong. Joseph, that is a brilliant puzzle. It's an unbelievable idea to put this into a Sudoku in the form of a paintball gun. I mean, I'm not sure what caused your mind to go in this direction, but... yeah, I mean, it's phenomenally clever, but my goodness, that's tricky. That really is right at the limits for me in terms of what I'm capable of solving. And that's the reason this is 49 minutes long. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, let me know in the comments whether you got through this and how you found it. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.